Hey mathematics learners, welcome to Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. So on today's video tutorial, we are going to be looking at income tax. I hope you guys enjoyed the 4 lessons that I did for you on, calculating interest. Please comment down below, how did you find those lessons? Did you find them, beneficial for you? Did they help you, right? Because guys, it absolutely makes zero sense for us to just go into past papers, but we don't know how to calculate income tax. We don't know how to calculate interest. We have no idea what's happening when it comes to hire purchase agreements. Then when you're going to that past paper, are we really now doing revision? Or are we trying to use that past paper to study? Going through past papers should be a way for us to just revise work that we've done. It's not a way for us to study what you're supposed to know, because there's certain things that are put in one particular past paper, okay, that are supposed to be there maybe, but maybe they've decided to just leave out this section for this year. Okay, so it's very risky for us to just go through one past paper as a way for us to prepare for this exam, right? You need to make sure that you've gone through all the topics that you're supposed to go through. You need to ensure that you understand in depth, okay, what is happening in all those topics, so that when we go to a past paper, we have knowledge and we're not just there blank, stressing out, sichuluga and all that. Okay, so please make sure that you're watching these revision lessons. They are really going to help you, so that when you go into those past papers, you know what's expected from you. Okay, so in this video tutorial, we're going to be looking at income tax, right? What is income tax? And I think I've realized this from most of my learners, right, that I tutor. Some of them really didn't really know what is income tax, right? It was just a way of us just calculating certain things and just, going. It's very important, right, ladies and gentlemen, that when we are doing a topic, we understand deeply what's the purpose of this topic? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Okay, if you start thinking at that level, when you get to your paper 2, which is the harder paper, things become a bit easier, right? But if you just understand things on a surface level basis, when you're required to think or required to answer things at a deeper level, you're going to struggle. Okay, so please make sure that you're not skipping through my explanations, because I do explain things. But if you're skimming through the video, you're going to get to this part, and I did something, then you're going to say to me, why did you do this? But I explained it at the beginning. Okay, do not skim through. Okay, if you've got enough data at home, do not skim through my lessons, guys. I've been saying this. Okay, so what is income tax? Guys, when we're talking about income tax, we are basically talking about an amount that individuals that earn a taxable income pay to the government. Okay, and where does that money go? Okay, that money the government uses to pay for particular, goods and services for the citizens of the country. The fact that we've got access to free education in schools, public schools, okay, where does that money come from to pay those teachers? The tax that the citizens of the country pay. The fact that we've got access to, free health, hospitals, right? Where does that money come from to pay for our doctors and our nurses? The tax that the citizens of the country pay. So when we're talking about income tax, guys, we are just talking about an amount that citizens pay, okay, based on their taxable income, right? So you need to basically understand that part, right? So in these 2 lessons that I'm going to be uploading on my YouTube channel, we're going to be looking at the following. Okay, so I'm going to be focusing on the following. I'm going to be focusing on what is income tax. We've already defined that. Okay, it's an amount that citizens, people pay towards their tax, or an amount that gets deducted from people's salary and it goes towards paying towards their tax, and dusted. How is tax payable calculated? That is what we're going to be figuring out. I'm going to be showing you how do we calculate an amount that a person needs to pay towards their tax. We're going to be looking at rebates. What are rebates and how do they affect the tax that a person needs to pay? Right? We're going to be looking at medical credits. What are medical credits and how do they affect, the total tax that a person has to pay. We're also going to be looking at how do pension fund contributions and donations affect the total tax that a person has to pay. So I'm going to be going deeper into these, all right, in the next two lessons that I'm going to be uploading on my channel. Please make sure that you are sitting down, you are listening attentively, right? And please let me know if it gets to a point where you're not hearing me properly. Just let me know and say, okay, here, I'm not getting it. Okay, we're also going to talk about what is a tax threshold. Okay, I forgot to just put that there. So this is what we're going to be going through in our next lessons. So what is income tax, right? I've basically mentioned that income tax is a normal tax or tax which is paid on your taxable income, right? So it's an amount, right, that you pay to the government based on your taxable income. So I know a lot of learners struggle with this word. They don't know, sometimes we get things and we don't understand what is meant by this. What is a taxable income? Because you see this word come up in our tax table, right? So it's important that we know what it means. What is a taxable income? Guys, when we're talking about a taxable income, we are talking about any income that an individual gets from employment, from investments, from rental of property, or let's say, for example, you're like old now, you get your pension, that income that you get from your pension gets taxed, okay? So when you're talking about a taxable income, we are talking about any income that you get that can be taxed. So income from employment, investments, rental of property, pension fund, the list goes on and on. But any income that an individual gets that can be taxed, whether it's from YouTube, whether it's income that you get that is above the tax threshold, then that's your taxable income. All right, cool stuff. Who is liable to pay tax, right? Because now we've mentioned that, what is a taxable income, right? And we've mentioned that a taxable income is any income that you get that can be taxed, right? So if you're earning an income, maybe you're working at, you know, at a particular company, you're earning an income, right? Not everyone gets taxed, right? Okay, there are certain conditions that must be met for you to get taxed. What are those conditions? What are those conditions? So when you look at the 2025 tax year, right? So when I talk about the 2025 tax year, I'm saying from the 1st of March 2024 to the 28th of February 2025. These were the conditions that, a person needs to meet for them to get taxed. Okay, so let's see. If you are younger than 65 years old and you're earning an income per annum that is more than 95,750. So this amount that's basically given to us here is a tax threshold, right? So what is a tax threshold? A tax threshold is an amount that helps us determine whether a person should pay tax or not, right? So if you're earning an amount that is above the tax threshold, that means that you should pay tax. But if you're earning an amount that's below the tax threshold, that means that you do not have to pay tax, right? So that amount of 95,700 that's given to us there is just the tax threshold. So if you're a person that is younger than 65 years old and you earn an income that is more than 95,750 per year, then you should pay tax. Okay. Then if you are between the ages of 65 years of age to below 75 years of age, the tax threshold is 148,217. So that basically means that, right, if you are a person, right, and you are earning a yearly income of more than 148,217, then you should pay tax. Then lastly, if you are 75 years and older and your tax threshold, the tax threshold is 165,689, meaning that if you're earning an income that is above that amount of 165,689, that means that you are supposed to pay tax. So when we are talking about taxable income, we are talking about an income that is above those tax threshold amounts. Okay, that's what we are basically talking about. If we're saying a person's taxable income, we are saying that an income that can be taxed because it is above those tax threshold amounts. Okay, so from this, what are we understanding? We're understanding what is a tax threshold. A tax threshold is an amount that helps us determine whether a person is supposed to pay tax or not, right? If you're earning an amount that is below a tax threshold, above the tax threshold, it means that you should pay tax. If you're earning an amount that is below the tax threshold, it means that you should not pay tax, right? Why is this information important? It's important for situations where in an exam, you are given a question where they are telling you that, for example, Ndumiso is a 25-year-old that earns a monthly salary of 3,500 per month. Should Ndumiso pay tax? Now, based on the information that we're given here, okay, about the tax threshold for individuals that are younger than 65 years old, we can basically see that Ndumisa is not supposed to pay tax. Why am I saying that Ndumisa is not supposed to pay tax? Because if he's earning 35,000 per month, that means that per year, Ndumisa is earning 42. Ndumisa is earning 3,500 per month. That means that per year, Ndumisa is earning 42,000. And then what does that 42,000 tell us? It basically tells us that Ndumiso's income is lower than the tax threshold amount. Therefore, Ndumiso is not supposed to pay tax. So this becomes crucial in those questions where we are required to answer, determine if a person should pay tax or not. So you need to understand that tax threshold value for you to be able to answer those questions. Now, how is tax payable calculated, right? So when I'm talking about tax payable, I'm basically saying, how do we calculate the amount that a person needs to pay for tax? How do we calculate that, right? So in the next video tutorial, which is going to be today, I'm going to be explaining to you guys how do we calculate tax, okay, by looking at this tax table, right? What do we need to do? How do we basically use this table to help us calculate the tax that a person needs to pay? Remember, in these video tutorials that I'm going to upload all in one day, we're going to speak about income tax. What is it? Secondly, we want to speak about how is the tax that you're supposed to pay calculated. We're going to talk about rebates. How do they affect the amount, the total amount that you're supposed to pay towards your tax? We're going to talk about medical credits. How do they affect the total amount that you're supposed to pay towards your tax? We're going to talk about pension fund contributions and donations, how those affect the amount that you're supposed to pay. And what do we need to do with UIF, right? Does that go into the calculations for calculating tax? Okay, we're going to be talking about that. And lastly, we also spoke about what is a tax threshold, right? So please, if you know this section is dropping you, make sure that you watch all these video tutorials. Just give yourself at least 1 hour today, go through all these video tutorials, and then from there, when it comes to income tax, you should be fine. So I'll see you on the next video tutorial where I'm going to be explaining to you how is the tax that a person is supposed to pay, tax payable, calculated.
That is it, guys, and I'll see you guys on my next upload, Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. Bye, guys.